Open Class Doodles, episode 37. And today we're gonna travel into dun, 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 into the Spanish-speaking Latin American world and its thriving culture, its explosive art forms, and its very intriguing artists and performers making it all over the globe, taking away a lot of the American English-speaking and traditional European market as well. Just by the way, so welcome everybody to Open Class Doodles, episode 37. Episode 37, Technical Doodles for Success, the unstoppable rise of Latam entertainment. And welcome everybody to the COACHMC studio. This is the place where we give you actors, performers, entertainers, and all sorts of other creative folks hope. And of course, also all the tools that you need in order to shape unique behavior deliveries and to stand out in the audition room, no matter what you're auditioning for, no matter where the audition takes place. It's always about communicating our ideas in a remarkable way. And so therefore, today's episode, it's a slightly strategic episode, right? Looking at the development of a market and where the future is going to be and understanding where we can position ourselves as, artistic service providers. And that's one of the great quests of our careers and of our lives. So without any further ado, let's take on this humongous task and let's see what's cooking. I think you need this, right? Have you heard me till now? I forgot that I have a microphone sometimes that I have to use as well. Yes, guys, it's been a crazy day. And so therefore, I don't even know if you understood what I just said in the intro. It's hopefully it was somehow audible. But like the title is saying, today we're talking about, of course, you're welcome, Serena. We're talking about this incredible market that is growing exponentially, that is including more and more artists, that is giving more and more work and also projects and interesting collaborations for the future to both sides of the ocean, actually. And so therefore, let's jump into this exploration. And it is truly interesting because as actors, as performers, as entertainers, we're living right now on the urge of stepping into a new episode, into a new chapter of humanity. Yes, as bold and dramatic as it sounds, but I believe that this to be true. I mean, look at the possibilities that Web3 is giving us, where we can go with these different new technologies, what AI is capable of doing, how filmmaking, music making, fashion design, creating art, also through NFTs and the technical possibilities there, the markets that have become fluid, opening up pretty much 24/7, 365 throughout the year. That means that there is an inter-accessibility, and an inter-accessibility means that throughout all spectrums of art, throughout all the different disciplines, that there has become some sort of a connection. That's why I said it's an interdisciplinary art form, right? It's not just focused on one little field anymore. Nowadays, we have become entrepreneurs, brand designers, creators, and distributors, and producers of our own content. Ding dong. We would also be very happy if you subscribe, by the way. And therefore, it has become truly important and vital to understand how these markets behave, where they're going, how you can insert yourself. If you know people who could profit from this, and potentially you as well. And we're going to discuss all this in today's episode. So I'm really pumped about today's meeting. Leave a like, pretty people and ugly people alike, right? All the spectrum, right? Leave likes because it makes us, it makes us go, a bit further into this YouTube territory that helps us to support the channel, and also will show you content that you prefer and like in the future as well. Okay. What is the rise of Latin American music? Where did this, come from? Why is this important? Why does this affect us also? And what is what is the reason for it? What is the real reason for it? You know, we're going to explore all these questions. And let me also know in the comment section down below, what is your favorite Latin American or, you know, Spanish speaking artist, whoever that is, right? It could be an architect, it could be a musician, it could be a performer, an actor, singer, whatever it is, like, and why, and or is there anything that you know out of that culture that you like, that you listen to, that you like to dance, right? There's so much coming out of the Latin American culture that is now already part of our everyday fabric. So what is the part that interests you the most? Let's take a look at a couple of numbers, right? This is directly from Luminate's last report. They always they have beautiful talks also on YouTube with the founders and important people coming by, where they give you basically, which I find is a very helpful thing to do, and they give you like an outlook on the market, right? They let you always understand what's happening next. And Luminate on YouTube, you can find a couple of interesting talks, TED-style talks, very good presentations, where, you know, they talk about entertainment. And this is from their article about, you know, 6 Latin music artists surpassing 1 billion streams in the United States. This is from February 2024. So it's, you know, it's happening right now. So Jaime Marconet wrote this article, and here in Luminate's 2023 End Music Report, released early this month, we noted that 6 Latin music artists achieved 1 billion streams on demand, at least 1 billion streams on demand in the United States last year. Of course, led by Bad Bunny and Peso Pluma. Each of these artists also ranked in the top 125 most streamed artists in the US, and compared this to 2022, when Bad Bunny was the only Latin music artist to notch over 1 billion audio streams in the US. And he, along with Eslabon Amado, were the only 2 Latin music artists in the US top 125. That means that out of these 2 initial artists that were in the top 125, and only one of them have reached 1 billion streams, over 1 billion streams, being Bad Bunny. Now we have 6 times the amount, right? 6 times the volume, and an incredible type of recognition also. If you think about what 1 billion stream, I mean, 1 billion streams is really a lot, right? It's a lot of time. It's a lot of content. There's a lot of advertising, a lot of attention going into this. So it's definitely an incredible milestone. And think about that, Latin artists, this is just the beginning, right, of them. Bad Bunny now being at 3.6 billion. Of course, oscillations, fluctuation, these are trends. We're speaking of something that is micro, not necessarily, but also macro. But of course, these artists will have their time. I mean, it will be, you know, it will be seen how much they will have like a long-term impact. Some of these artists will maybe disappear. Some of them would stay around longer, but it doesn't matter. This is, so we have here a pretty good arsenal already of incredible numbers. So as interesting that is already, as listening patterns evolve, it's important to understand how to reach new fans. For multilingual listeners, defined by those US music listeners who report listening to music in more than one language, our Luminate Insights consumer research shows these listeners are more likely to discover music through the channels below when compared to the average US music listener, demonstrating the importance of audio-visual content for this audience. So that means that these videos, of course, are also of utmost importance to, you know, to impact the industry. What we are also saying on this channel for a while now, that it is absolutely important to see how everything is connected. If you are a great filmmaker, but you lack access to any sort of, you know, like film market, well, maybe you go to the entertainment market first. Maybe you try to promote smaller projects. Maybe you start with short movies and festival, you know, carousels. And try to introduce step by step your art. And wherever they give you access first, this is where you enter. Stop chasing some sort of a purpose in the game. Chase repetition, exercise, and training. That will make you great. not always, trying to find the appropriate door. Sometimes also kind of, like fixing yourself or kind of, getting yourself into a door that wasn't initially meant to be yours, whatever that means, because it's all a mind setup. It's everything you made up in your mind. Oh no, I have to do this because this and only this makes me happy. You don't know what makes you happy. You have to taste life first to know what tastes right for you. So go for a project, get into the project, try to collaborate with new entertainers, try to spread out your narrative, your artistic message, and you will see that somehow you will reach those listeners, those spectators. I believe the same thing has happened here. Of course, now everybody looks at the big numbers. Everybody is fast. I want to do this. I'm fascinated. Oh yeah, I can do this easily, and I want to get into this market. But understand, these people, they're coming from these long years of, trying to find their message, their channel, the right promoter, the right agent, the right show reel, the right coach, all these things. Speaking of which, if you want to find the right coach for your artistic endeavor, and maybe you still haven't find your piece of the puzzle, how to stick into this, big picture called entertainment industry. Maybe it's still something that you feel is lacking in your delivery, something that you want to, kind of include finally, or setting yourself also free from the chains of your past, instructors, your past, experiences, and try something new. Dust off your toolbox maybe a little bit. If you want to kind of take a fresh start with your art, hey, just hit me up on readytoperform.com. Just send me a message, whatever your mission is, and let's sit together in a discovery session. I explain, what I do, and I listen to you and what it is that you do and what I believe and you believe your mission is. And if we find out that we're a great match for each other, whether that's for your self-tape audition, whether it's for a public speaking portfolio, maybe that's just for a big negotiation that's coming up, you'll be really sure that this whole thing is foolproof. Whatever it is, let's have fun. Let's explore. Let's have, a big adventure. Let's make you better and also more successful in the process, of course. So readytoperform.com. Why am I so bold about what I say? Because it's not to brag. It's just, this confidence comes from the experience of having built something for myself already, a legacy in entertainment, a legacy in TV, a legacy also in the way of how my coaching style works. I think we have a pretty unique angle at this industry. And when I say we, I also mean my wife, Alessandra, that is an absolutely integral part of this a crazy endeavor that now is running for over 10 years, 11 years almost, because I think like she's coming from the script supervisor, continuity, assistant director process. I'm coming from the active process of acting, of being the performer, being the improviser, being also the strategic thinker of what I should do in order to make this scene better, and kind of bringing these qualities together, combined 60 years of film and industry experience. I think this is what gives us a bit of an edge, a bit of an angle, and we see the results pretty quickly. It does work. And of course, this is just what we've experienced works on set. We're nothing else than the conduits of information that was already acquired and then maybe refined by us. But we're not claiming to have redefined the wheel. I'm just claiming that the tools that I propose are tools that are definitely forged in the making by taking action. They are forged through the experience and not some theoretical, emotional, psychological construct. Psychology, emotion, and theory and analysis, they will help us to reinforce our experience and kind of build our cathedral of success. But they are not the founders of our success. The founders of our success is the action, is the experience, is the experiment. It is the boldness and the courage and also the stupidity, right? But definitely always the humor that allows us to take a step more into foreign, uncertain, uncharted territory, and therefore exploring more and more what we are capable of instead of hiding in our cage of constraints, right? We don't want to do that. So come over to readytoperform.com. Let's have fun. Let's fly together. Let's see what we can do, right? And therefore what we can also achieve. And I believe shows like this today are really important to give the industry, to give also the artists, we're singular individuals, right, that are forming this huge monolithic block that is the industry. So every artist is somehow, of course, relevant to the inner static, to the inner foundation. And it is important to spread these news, these messages, to give people awareness and also maybe ideas, because I feel, like I said, people are chasing the purpose too much instead of seizing the opportunity. If you see something like this, that a Latin American market is formally like literally exploding in front of your face, and even if you are not a Spanish speaker or someone who lives in Spain or Latin America or maybe just in the US, right? And even if you're not previously not like huge acquaintances that come from this type of the world, what does it mean? It just means that there is a lot to explore, a lot to learn, a lot to study. That's beautiful. Embrace that. Jump into this opportunity, and maybe you kind of see that you can be a participant of this huge market that is getting bigger and bigger by the year. So so far that's been the numbers that that we delivered you from Luminate, because they definitely are a very interesting source out there. But I want to give you more kind of statistics and ideas and numbers why I think it is relevant to look into this. So check it out. This is Variety telling us that Latin music revenue hits peak 627 million in first half of 2023. Spanish is second most listened to language in the US. Of course, you might think it's like, well, no big surprise, right? Hypnotic would laugh at me right now. Of course, these are the people working and living here. Of course, they're listening to their music. Yes, but get it, guys. This is also, like also US listeners. These are people that are migrating. So in the first half of 2023, we have $627 million. So this means that people are also from the traditional markets looking and taking advantage of this, and they're participating actively. Luminate's Latin Music Report also found that Hispanic listeners, they're also referring, this is Variety still referring to Luminate's Latin Music Report, also found that Hispanic listeners are turning to WhatsApp to communicate and discover new music trends. So we're talking about a complete new generation of listeners, of active music users, how you would call them today, that are communicating with each other, sending themselves also, music as memes, music as recognition for a certain, phase in their lives when they have to comment something. They have a very intrinsic type of language that is based on those, urban relevances that are defined by these, by these musical artistic contributions. So the very culture is now defining the communication in inner cities. I think that's huge. I don't think that's just, okay, these are a couple of songs that's been listened to. This is October 2nd, but it's still, this is the market that is evolving right in front of our eyes. We still are early in this, right? This is a huge development that will be, I think, just bigger in the future. So Latin music revenue is growing at an unprecedented pace in the United States, rising in consumption by 15%. Compared to the first half of 2022. Not only that, Spanish is now the second most listened to language in music across the US, accounting for an estimated 23% of listeners. It's almost, a quarter. These landmarks follow a breakthrough year for Latin music revenue in 2022, when the genre hit an all-time high of $1.1 billion. In 2023, the genre is on track for another record-breaking year. That was last year, as the RIAA reported a new mid-year high of 627. And here we had the report from 2023 already that is saying that compared to 2022, we have basically 6 times more artists present in the 1 billion plus streams. That's crazy. New data by Luminate also suggests the upstick was struck then thanks to buzzy newcomers. Yes, we have buzzy newcomers from subgenres, including regional Mexican, right? As fast evolving landscape that logged an increase of 56% in this year alone. That was 2023 again. Spanish hitmakers like Shakira and Karol G have already dipped their toes into the market, which has collected a total of 14.3 billion on-demand streams through the first 34 weeks of 2023. Crazy stuff. How can we seize this? How can we, like I said, right? Whether you start looking into Spanish language, and you might think, well, that's a very opportunistic thing to do, right? That's an opportunistic move. That doesn't stand for my integrity as an artist or for my values. Or it's like, what type of integrity does as an artist have, if not the integrity of being displayed and perceived by his audience? That's the only integrity that we have. Does this also mean that we will make money for it? Oh no, that's shocking development. We will also make money with our art? No, don't say so. Yeah, okay, so we will also make money with our art, but that doesn't mean that we're selling our integrity. We're expanding our catalog, our artistic catalog. And I mean it seriously, like adding a new language to your system. That's not like an easy task. That's not something that, happens like in a couple of days. It's not an opportunistic move. It's a choice of life. It's a choice of communicating. It's a choice of, really making the effort. So therefore, if that means that you will have potential access to a new market that, makes these numbers, what's the problem? What is the loyalty that we should have? Because sometimes we get this twisted. I'm not talking about sellout. I'm not talking about twisting and turning yourself like The Rock is doing and claiming to be this perfect, descended human God, right? That is giving his preachings and always is perfect. Is always the hardest working man in the room and does everything perfectly. That's boring. Perfection is fascism. It deforms you. It makes you way more vulnerable than accepting that you are not indeed perfect. And that's totally fine. That's perfect. Indeed. Ding dong. Another public service announcement. Thank you for stopping by the COACHMC studio. We're happy to have you here. No, but seriously, that's the point. Accepting who you are makes you have that natural confidence instead of trying to play the perfect guy and always tell more and more inconsistencies and even flat out lies in order to kind of save your image. What is your image? It's a projection. It's not true. Be yourself instead of taking care of something that you think others would like you to see to be. Even the phrase itself is so contorted, it doesn't make any sense. Stop doing that. Be authentic, be real. This is the most beautiful craft that we have. Like using arts to be real. Art is actually just there to do exactly that. My pencil, my stage, my ring light, my microphone, all this stuff just serves me finally to be real. And because otherwise, I wouldn't have a purpose. Our purpose is to serve. And so accept that. It is absolutely fantastic to see someone almost slip up and then in the last moment kind of catching himself and turning this moment of a potential mistake around into a major success, right? And this has happened to all of us human beings, whether it's happening in art or in real life, something that in the beginning almost is like a mistake. By not giving up and pushing through the uncomfort, we actually use it for our own benefit to kind of defeat the enemy because we're getting stronger through that potential mistake and realize in the end, hey, maybe that mistake was meant to be. And actually, I got a YouTube video about this on my channel, the COACHMC Studio. Maybe you know it. It's a great channel. Come over and subscribe. And I have a video about that, about making a mistake almost purposefully and intentionally, but because through the mistake we're discovering who we really are. And yes, that sometimes can lead, but really, to be honest, I can't recollect, and this is not of arrogance. It doesn't mean that it is always a perfect masterpiece that you will produce when you're gonna, but maybe 1-2 times in my life where I really stopped. And I totally regret it since today. I know when I stopped and I shouldn't. Like most of the time, if you just play it through, if you just catch your mistake and turn it around and use it for your own benefit, then usually, this is the stuff that is the greatest about you. When you are real, when you're authentic, when you turn mistakes into victory. Sorry for the little rant. But I think this is also a little bit what this topic today is teaching us, right? Is maybe these Latin American musicians, these Spanish speaking artists, they are also so popular because they don't, yes, they are of course playing the pop game and look fantastic and all that, but they don't maybe try to be that perfect, right? They're just entertainers. They're doing, their job, and they don't try to compete in the political game. They don't have some sort of secondary and tertiary and quaternary type of agenda going on. It's really just them. It's really just them having fun, and there's a certain authenticity, genuinity that comes with that people always will appreciate. So the panorama of Latin American, this is from November 2023, artprice.com. The global interest in Latin American art has numerous channels. Since the beginning of the millennium, public and private institutions alike, mainly in Europe and the United States, have conducted a growing number of initiatives to promote works by Latin American artists and foster links with Latin American museum and galleries to build archives of Latin American artists, essential for the orchestration of relevant acquisitions by European and American museums. So this is now not talking about music, but of art in general that comes out of the Latin American segment. That mainly in Europe and the United States, but also in Asia and in Saudi Arabia, there has been made a substantial effort to kind of promote Latin American art, to put it into the collections of bigger galleries, to have greater exhibitions, and also to increase the prices of the selling. Now, you might again say, why is this relevant? If you're an artist, if you're a painter, if you produce art, and you see that there is a massive increase in volume of interest for these types of styles, for these types of motives, of narratives, for these types of tales and shapes and forms and also colors. Understanding what inside of your, taste palette, right? What you deem connectable to this culture, to these colors. If, let's say, theoretically, you're not coming out of that cultural ecosystem, right? So find your bridge, your transition, your connection to it, and through that, experience maybe how you can improve your quote unquote, your Latin current inside of you, your more exotic style of painting, of singing, of displaying, whatever it is, and going into different directions. And again, this is a way of getting more work, getting more attention, being part of a narrative that is currently a hype theme that is trending right now. That if you have, the MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art, that is in Tate Modern and Pompidou, beautiful Centre Pompidou, built by Renzo Piano in Paris. Just go there. It's one of those places in Paris. It's definitely worth kind of watching and being and hanging out. If you see all these major institutions of art accumulating, especially and more focusedly, Latin American, art, Latin art, then yes, this is a good sign that there is a certain trend into that direction, into these shapes, into these colors, and into these narratives. Adapt, find your connection to it, evolve with that, and get better with your art. This doesn't have to be necessarily something that you do all, but it's maybe the entrance to bigger, better galleries and or events, or just expanding your catalog. Again, I feel like as an artist, that's our duty. Of course, focusing on something that works and finding your style and your narrative. But then once you have your style established, once you have your base layer, of course you try out different things. Glenn Gould, the biggest, best, greatest Bach interpreter on the piano, he was also playing Beethoven. He was also playing Chopin. It doesn't mean that he stops playing other composers just because he found the one composer. As well as Martin Scorsese. Yes, he found De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, but that doesn't mean he doesn't work with other actors anymore. Just because he found his whatever you want to call it, the brothers in art that you deem the nearest to you and that inspire you. That's why he's working a lot with De Niro and DiCaprio, and but that doesn't mean that he stopped working with others as well. He found his base layer with these two actors, but then he's adding other layers, other narrations, other melodies, on top of that base layer. And that, I think, is what makes an artist ultimately great. And right now we're having this layer, this great narrative of the Latin movement, and maybe we all could do, like, make an effort and trying to find some layers that interest us also in this culture. If we're happen to be artists that are kind of also looking a little bit for new markets, right? This could be a very good opportunity to do so. Yes, I think Salma Hayek because it's also mentioned in the article, not Salma Hayek, but Frida Kahlo. I think nonetheless that the Salma Hayek movie, Frida Kahlo also, this is a great example, by the way, how Hollywood, can sometimes, be part of a trend without selling itself out to the trend, and still help also the not just exploiting the trend or cannibalizing it, but really helping it also to thrive. And I think this movie, Frida by Salma Hayek, exactly did that, and still doing that. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. Really, it's a fantastic movie. I love watching this piece. But besides that, I think it conveys a very strong message, a nice idea, and it tells so many beautiful, strong stories about individuals, women, men alike, and with their respective backgrounds, ethnicities. And she deals with all these different also political matters and issues. Of course, it's overblasted and overglassed in a way. It's entertainment. But nonetheless, there is a subtle tone in the dialogues, and that's really masterfully, and the direction, everything. That movie is really great. It's a fantastic movie. It's an amazing, one of my favorite movies. And I think that movie somehow, maybe that was planned or not, whether it was like completely intentional or just, of course, it was also based on certain anniversaries of Frida Kahlo, but nonetheless, it totally hit the pulse of time. It totally hit a nerve, and it struck a chord with people, and it kind of kicked off a loud, always louder and louder echo that is now kind of manifesting today, that's solidifying in front of our eyes, where we have these billions of streams from these Latin artists, a huge increase of Latin music, a greater focus on Latin artists and painters as well, in the international galleries and foundations. I think it somehow all started with this movie. It definitely did, right? So big kudos to Salma Hayek and to Frida Kahlo. They definitely helped kind of putting that focus, that magnifying lens over Mexico and over that great art. And yeah, so we are having these results today. This is what I'm always, also talking about in the show is, yeah, art is not a sprint. It's a marathon. You need to invest long-term, need to see your legacy, need to believe in your product. It's nothing that I've seen sometimes, quick artists making a quick buck without having the necessary preparation. It always ended up in a catastrophe. So the better your preparation, the stronger your fundamentals, the easier you will digest the hit when you finally break through or have finally major success or receive the appropriate acknowledgement for your artistic work. So here we have an article by Afonso Rivera from Cineropa. And we've personally here in Miami, we've been to the Miami Media and Film Market a couple of months ago. And the Spanish tax credit incentives, as well as the UK tax credit incentives, respectfully, the people who are leading these groups, a tax credit basically is a tax write-off when you invest in another country, you shoot overseas or somewhere in another country. These countries, they offer you as an appetizer, right? As an incentive, they offer you to take over some of your production costs or reduce the taxes or the impact on your on what you have to spend if you decide to shoot there. So therefore, they have now huge tax incentive programs like Spain. And Spain has worked magnificently in the last decade. Yeah, over the last decade or so, even longer than that, it has worked magnificently to kind of really, forge out a great tax incentive culture that is not always giving money to the same people, that is really taking care of also diversification of the program, what has been shot, that the territory is being represented and not misrepresented, that there is some sort of, an ever-growing percentage also of local talents that need to be hired in order to make the picture more authentic. We talked about this also on our masterclass that you can rewatch. It was the masterclass about the self-tapes, right? Well, check them all out. But we are putting a high focus as the COACHMC studio, as a YouTube channel, but also as a coach on these tax credit incentives and all the productions that are being shot all over the place. Because like I said, the world has become a connected global village, and therefore the actor being more adaptable and flexible, if he really kind of shapes out that mindset, there are so many more ways of being represented in films, of being part of projects today than 10, 15 years ago. So take advantage of that. And Spain is definitely doing a great job in incentivizing these projects and flying all over the place and inviting people to come over and shoot their co-productions in Spain or the international projects there, and involve local talents and make sure that more and more people get involved in this movement. So therefore, what we also witnessed here in Miami at the film market is that there is an ever-growing interest, also including the United States, South Florida especially, but the United States, and then of course Miami as a focal point of all this, as one of the focal points of all this, for this new development of the Latam cinema. That has a stronger and stronger fusion also with the European cinema, having Spain as one of the partners there, of course, including also countries like Italy, like Portugal. So it's becoming a truly interesting landscape where maybe national cinema is slowly but surely dying pretty much everywhere. But international cinema is growing and getting more and more traction. And definitely this is just the swing of the pendulum. It will probably, allegedly, eventually also swing back, to more locally produced content. But I feel if we just give that more traction and believe also in making trends our own trends and incorporating them, then I feel like we can really take advantage and still position us in the market. And when the pendulum then swings back, we are ready to serve, we are ready to perform, we already position ourselves. So therefore you profit in both ways and you get to develop your artistic value. So take advantage of these productions, tell your agents about it, research them for yourself. There are many great resources out there, great casting portals, like Casting Networks, Actors Access, and Cast Forward, Crew United, and many, many more, where you can get infos and also the possibility. Actors Home, of course. We interviewed Lucy Lennox on the channel. She has a great network for actors and international performers, entertainers. ActorsHome.com. Definitely, check that out. Check out the interview that we shot with her on our channel, Talks on Acting with Lucy Lennox. Brilliant lady, great program, wonderful resource. There are more and more resources like this popping up. So for actors, there will be more and more possibilities to be hired in a dramatically diverse also fan of projects. Because take myself as an example, I can shoot over here in the United States. They will cast me for a certain type of of character, but I can also shoot in Europe, and over there in Europe they will cast me as something completely different again. In my homeland in Italy, again, my agent will propose me for stuff that is probably not the stuff that my agent in Germany will propose me for, aka being myself and my wife, because in Germany we don't have representations of how we just represent ourselves. But yeah, you know what I mean. I mean, every country, of course, has its own style and therefore sees you in its own way, through its own lens, through its own culture. And therefore you have more possibilities to kind of act out more ranges, have more impact. And it's of course, it's more fatiguing to keep track of all these networks. It costs more time and definitely also more money and concentration to send out all these different portfolios, kind of updating your profiles, making sure that people know who you are. Definitely. But the possibilities, on the other hand, the flip side is definitely the pros outweighs the cons by far. So the article here states that the Spanish film industry grew by 30% in 2023. This is this is May 29th. So it's a pretty fresh article. According to the Ministry of Culture, the film industry increased compared to the previous year, where the total number of viewers recorded a 29.7 year-on-year increase, reaching 76.7 million. Wow. In mid-May, the Spanish Ministry of Culture published cinematography statistics, production, exhibition, distribution, and promotion for 2023, an annual report as part of the National Statistic Plan. According to the report, film in Spain grew by around 30% in 2023. The total number of viewers recorded a 29% year-on-year increase to 76.7 million, and total takings amounted to 493 million, 34.2% higher than the previous year. In addition, the 3,608 cinemas throughout Spain hosted 728 premieres, 13.2% more than the previous year. That's really good. That's really good stuff, guys. This is Spanish cinema. So if you're an actor over here in the States, but maybe you have Latin American background, or you speak Spanish, you happen to speak Spanish, Spain could be also a market for you. Maybe you're looking for an agency down there too. Maybe you start getting interested in these projects as well. Think about La Casa de Papel, House of Cards, the Spanish version. It was incredibly successful on Netflix, one of the most viewed shows ever. So it's like really big numbers. Excuse me. The statistics also show a decreasing gender gap in the industry, in keeping with the actions implemented in recent years by the Ministry of Culture. Among the features film produced in Spain, 41.9% were directed or scripted by women, a 5.3 increase compared to 2019. Fair enough. If the movies are great, I don't care who wrote them. I just care if the story checks out and if it's really great. Right? It's not about genders, and of course any type of discrimination is absolutely bad, but you always have to kind of search for the reasons for discrimination. It's so easy to jump on the bandwagon of misery, right? Misery likes company, so I jump on the bandwagon, to get some engagement farming going on while I blame this or that, but always have to look very granularly for the reasons. I once sat together with my producer in Germany, and she's a woman. She's been in the industry for, I think, over 40 years. And the production that I was part of most of the time in Germany is completely run by women. Like really all the major positions completely. That also has changed because of, the political implications, but also partially because it was really since the beginning, since 2005, it was pretty much like that. And when I asked my head producer why, women, there was this debate about the salary, and I was asking, like, why do you, like, on average pay girls less than boys? Why do women get less money than men, like on average, if you compare the hours that are similar? And her answer was really surprising. I thought now I would get some sort of, like, it was really unexpected, because what she says is like just very simple. It's a calculation and nothing else. It has nothing to do with, kind of suppressing the right of someone. It's a simple numbers game. And I was completely perplexed and baffled by this answer. It's like, I couldn't really make anything out of it. So I said, like, can you elaborate on this? What do you mean? I thought there's this huge gender gap, pay gap, right? That is based on the so-called, evil patriarchal system on the patriarchy and the suppression of women. Is like, no, and mind you, right? She's a woman, guys. She has a daughter. It's a beautiful child. I know her well. I mean, I grew up, as an artist, as an actor in Germany with my producer. So we worked almost like 19 years together. So I know this person very well, right? We went to several dinner occasions. We had a lot of success, also a lot of trouble together, but it was a great time. So she was really just honestly like so upright woman. She made it to the top. So she's been in the system before there was even any type of protests or narratives or any political, movement supporting any type of, emancipation and the gender pay gap or anything like that. And she said this has nothing to do with oppression or being somehow against women. It is all a game of numbers, and the numbers are the following. If I hire an actress, she was explaining, for the same days that I hire a man throughout the year, the actress on average will miss out 25%. I think she said something around that number, 25% more days than men, like based on the year. And that is normal. It's just how women work. That's how the system, it's biological. They miss more days on set on average than men, because of their menstruation period, because of how the woman body is constructed, right? It's just slightly more fragile than the man body, just physically. It has nothing to do with the inclination of character. It's just how nature has built us. And so she continued saying, like, if I run a production that costs almost 3,000, like $3,000 a minute, so you know exactly when I have to produce for 250, 260 days throughout the year, and I have such high costs that the insurance companies, they are breathing down my neck. So I have to make sure that the costs check out. I can't invest the same amount in money into an asset that doesn't deliver to me like another asset. It's just a game of numbers and nothing else. Therefore, I have to push down costs there, because I know that these persons, just because of the biology of things, they will miss out way more days of shooting. And so therefore, I have to rearrange my shooting schedule. I have to rearrange sometimes my location. Sometimes I have to, put in additional costs, because women, of course, on set, especially when we shoot outside, like we were shooting close to the Alps, like literally like on the Alps sometimes. So of course in the wintertime or in fall, it's truly freezing down there. You have higher costs for women on set that are shooting in such conditions, which is normal. Again, there's no judgment, there is no oppression, there is not some sort of type of occult conspiracy. It's just how nature works. And therefore, when I have higher costs, I have less days, and I have more volatility, more variables, and less security. I have to maintain the costs, because I know there will be some, added additional costs throughout the process that I have to invest for this asset rather than for the other asset. So in the end, I pay the same amount for both. I have just to suppress the wage a little bit, because the additional money that I need on the other hand for the women is merely transactional, and I can subtract that from what the production earns, because otherwise I lose my job. And so that was the first time that I heard like the reasoning behind this, like the logical explanation without any emotional, inflammatory judgment or anything. And that was delivered, mind you, by a woman, right? It was not a man telling me this. This is a woman, a CEO of a major company that is the second biggest producing company in Germany for what this required field is, the second biggest film studio also. So like, we're not talking about, someone that is just stating his opinion. This is based on decades of knowledge, statistics, numbers, and facts. And that is the simple reason. And hijacking the numbers game and turning it into a hate campaign, into some sort of crusade against the prepotent, white, arrogant, patriarchal man, and he needs to be rooted out, and taking this example that has nothing to do with any type of emotional engagement on site. Quite the opposite. It's just what it is. And turning that into one of the Bibles of this holy crusade against the white, evil man that has constructed this industry in the first place, just mind you, right? So it's quite a move. It's quite diabolical. It's quite evil. And this is where also I was very surprised of how sometimes, the truth can be distorted just by just leaving out just a couple of facts and a couple of numbers. The whole truth flips. And again, I think this is also what we're seeing here. Why is this industry growing so much? Sorry for this slightly off-topic rant, but somehow I got here. And this is also the beauty of live YouTube. Smash the like button just for this value proposition, right? The little live rant. We are Tangent Kings, usually Dragon Slayer commentaries, and Ryan Roger Athay also, right? We are the real derailers. Way more, but Dragon Slayer commentaries. Ryan Roger Athay derails through his bizarre demeanor. It's just the fact that he exists that is already derailing. Dragon Slayer is also funny while derailing. So, and you can check out some beautiful episodes with me, Ryan Roger Athay, and Dragon Slayer commentaries on this channel. Actually, yes, you won't believe it, but it's a show called Three Sages in a Time Machine, happening every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Last time we covered the incredible outlandish story of the real Indiana Jones, Janos Moritz. And this is an unbelievable, amazing, real event that we kind of dissected life in all its granularity. Well, of course, in what, of course, the time constraints allow us to do. But we really kind of, unpack the mystery of the Taos caverns, of the Taos caves, of Carlo Crispi Croce, the metal library of gold, and the first the real Indiana Jones, Janos Moritz, and this incredible, amazing tale. Check out the episode. You can find it on my YouTube channel, and check us also out next Tuesday. We always have stories like this. You can find already a couple of beautiful shows where we covered out of place artifacts and Greek mythology, the Scythians, the mystery of the Phrygian cap. Beautiful episodes, packed of, with humor, with knowledge, with history, and also some controversial takes. Of course, we are speculating. We're not really any professors here. We are sages, right? We are wise people and wise in our foolishness. And so therefore it's our take on these things. Slightly funny, slightly controversial, but definitely entertaining and thought-provoking. Guys, tune in. You're going to like it. Three Sages in a Time Machine. It's just a nice change of pace. And of course, every Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Hypnotics YouTube channel, Saturday Night Hypnosis. I'm part of the OG panel. We started 94 weeks ago, which is absolutely insane. And now we're, amongst greats. Now we had Eric July on the show. We had Josiah Rising, Gothics, the Twisted Twins. I mean, it's incredible. We had so many great people, but it's not the people that ever get more and more famous people that are now part of our conversations. It's the panel itself. It's Hypnotic. It's the crew. It's Will of the Fans. It's Dragon Slayer. It's the Gooch. It's Atreus. It's just how we talk to each other. We really talk to each other like that. It's not staged, and the art that we create, the hangouts that we do. So definitely check us out. It's a great opportunity to every Saturday to kind of vent your frustrations a little bit and also hang out with us, and the chat is furious and absolutely hilarious, so it's fun. Let's get back to our show. Since 2020, the results of these statistics have been interpreted taking into account the effect of the crisis, which had a significant impact on cinemas. In this sense, the 4-year decline continues to be recorded compared to 2019. The number of viewers is lower and box office takings are down. Yes, box office is down, but the numbers are going up in terms of content that's produced from Spain and also Spanish-speaking content. We have another very interesting statistic here that I want you to show, because it's really like sometimes these developments, they're happening and we don't even realize it. Like we don't even see these things, like, because we're always kind of primed to our behavior, to our rituals, to what we usually kind of look into. But the stuff that is happening right now is part, I think, of a bigger picture. And I'm going to give you also my explanation in a couple of minutes why I believe this development has become so strong in the last years. Because yes, these countries are doing a lot for the promotion, but I think there is something deeper beneath as a narrative. And I'm going to clarify in a moment what I mean by that. It's not just the money that plays a role here. So the number of Latin music listeners on Spotify worldwide soared 986% from 2014 to 2013. That was December 19 of 2023, guys. 986%. These gains usually you see only in crypto. You don't see these gains anywhere else in any financial market except in crypto. So to see it over here in music industry, 986% of increase in 9 years, that is absolutely bogus. Do you know what your, like, in 9 years, your increase for your S&P 500 portfolio, for your ETF is? It's probably 5%. What is it, 10%? If it's really performing well, 8%, 7% on average, but it's somewhere there. It's below, way below 10%. Now here you have in 9 years an increase of 986%. Creative community. This is a huge number. This is really big. Don't underestimate this. Right? I know we see a lot of numbers, a lot of information, so sometimes we fall out of the context of really appreciating the proportions because we don't have proportions anymore. But this, take a second look. Think of what it means. Again, you only see this usually happening in speculative markets like crypto, but basically nowhere else. This is a 9 years gain. That means it's over 100% gain each year. Again, S&P 500, look into Wall Street, all the stocks that you can buy. Look at what they can give you in 9 years. If you find something over 10%, this is already huge, right? In stocks, it's already huge. But 100% increase every year. From Bad Bunny to Peso Pluma, from Inigo Quintero to Karol G, Latin music has been one of the recording industry's biggest breakout success stories of the past few years. There you got it. A large part of its momentum is coming from the US recorded music market, the world's largest, where Latin music has seen several incredible years. And I will tell you in a moment why. In 2022, it surpassed $1 billion in US recorded music revenue. Yeah, we already covered that for the first time, raking in 1.9 billion, a 23.8 year-on-year increase and taking a nearly 8% share of the music stream market, according to data from the RIAA. The momentum carried on in 2023 with Latin music revenues jumping 15% year-on-year in the US and first quarter in 2023 to first half of the year 627. Yeah, it's a high recorded of 7.5% in this period. What's more, Latin music fans appear to offer more of an opportunity for monetization that fans focused on other types of music. And a report released earlier this year, US market monitors Luminate found that superfans of Latin music spend on average 30% more on music consumption than other superfans, 120% more than on average non-superfan. It's 4 times as much as an average regular non-superfan. Compared to other superfans, Latin music diehards were 21% more likely to have purchased t-shirts, stickers, or other merch from musicians in the prior year. Ding dong. Dun 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 dun. The incredible success of this segment of the music world is attracting attention from all over the world. No, don't say so. Not least from South Korea, where K-pop giant HYBE has jumped into the ring. Last month, HYBE acquired Latin label Exile Music, giving it the foundation it needs to launch Mexico-headquartered HYBE Latin America. Ding dong! All of which is not to suggest that Latin music has appeared on the scene out of nowhere. Of course not. Indeed, it's been a part of the global music environment for decades. Think of Gloria Estefan, Miami Sound Machine, Enrique Iglesias. I would also say Carlos Santana, but its proliferation and rising popularity, and also in a way also Wyclef Jean and Carlos Santana, but its proliferation and rising popularity in recent years is unprecedented. To highlight just how much of a shift this represents, Spotify recently dug into its own data and published a set of eye-opening statistics. Since the streaming service began its expansion to Latin American Spanish-speaking countries in 2013, it has seen its audience from Latin music grow by 986%. Spotify said in a blog post published on Monday, December the 18th last year. Consumption of Latin music has grown steadily at an average annual pace of 10%, while Latin songs in Spotify chart of the global 100 most streamed tracks have increased by 28% annually on average. Well, I could go on, but you catch my drift here. So why is this happening? Because I feel this is almost as important as understanding how to seize the opportunity of this trend. I think the reason why is this happening is the fact that English in the last years has been the language, right, that has dictated the political spectrum, also the scientific spectrum, right, and technological spectrum. And so with the health spectrum and all the other fields of our daily interest, they have been dominated by the English language and by, English-speaking players, right? Whether it's Branson, Elon Musk, Gates, you get the idea. So all these people are speaking English, and not with all of them we have like a positive connection, right? Thinking of Gates and others, right? And so therefore the language also of politicians and has had the biggest impact is also English. So it seems like that this shift to Spanish content, to Spanish-speaking content, also comes from an oversaturation and from an English fatigue, from the fact that you can't enjoy entertainment that is English-speaking anymore, because there are so many other topics related to it and attached to it. And then because also the language has been hijacked, politicized, and weaponized, and all sorts of controversies and different disputes and nonsensical types of, mental acrobatics and semantic mambo jambo and all that stuff, of course, just pushes people more out of the language and into other languages where the brain feels like, this is like spa, because this language is not infested by politics, by controversy, by cataclysms, by traumata, by all that stuff. So you perceive the language in a way, purer way. It just entertains you. It's exit to entertainment. And so therefore, the reason why I covered this today is because it kind of shows, it validates the theory that is now not a theory anymore. It's proof. People need entertainment, good entertainment. They want to escape. Escapism is, the higher the pressure of the population, the more, the thirst and the need for better and better quality escapism, to finally break through the chain of thoughts, to finally think happy. And this is there to reinforce us that escapism and great entertainment will always be a market driver, a market factor, a highly like an indicator for whether your product is good or not good, right? Because all these Latin American musicians and artists haven't been hijacked so far. Not all of them, just a little portion of them, by the Western narratives and by the politicization and the weaponization through, different various official outlets. And they don't have to bend themselves like Western artists do to kind of fit in all the cliches and all the political correctness that is imaginable possible. They just don't belong into that playing field. Therefore, they offer us a very welcome change of pace, where we finally can dust off and really enjoy escapism, enjoy some music, enjoy some fun, enjoy some entertainment without a second thought. And I think that's the big narrative here. I think that's the real factor behind all this. So yes, there's definitely a trend that we can follow, that we can take advantage of or connect us with. Definitely there is a lot to learn, but there's also a validation for the fact that whether it's English speaking or Spanish speaking, entertainment, it will always be the factor, the prerogative, the imperative of the quest. It needs to be entertainment. It needs to be entertaining. And I think that's the reason why Spanish speaking productions, Latin American art, and music that comes from Latam and entertainment that comes out of that country is so popular, because it just offers that without any other major influences. I'm not saying that they're completely excluded. In Spain, we see already some currents of wokeness being inserted and all that, but generally you can say that this content is fresh. It feels crisp. It feels immaculated. It feels not infested. It feels not made heavy by artificial, unnecessary, completely, like narratives that don't belong in there. It's just entertainment, and that is a great indicator, creative community, to kind of complete the show today. It means that entertainment itself, when you offer people genuine, crisp, fresh stuff that's full of novelty, that is unique, that is truly yours and authentic, people will enjoy it, right? Don't get fooled by the politicization, I guess, if that's a word, or don't get fooled by the bandwagon that if you are part of every hype, of every trend, of every style, of every wind that shows up, that therefore you're relevant. You're not. You're only relevant if you're authentic, if you're confident, if you have something unique and you worked more than anyone else on your skill set, then you have a market. It doesn't matter what language you speak, right? Charlie Chaplin and Albert Einstein. I love this quote. I said it during the last, but I would just want to repeat this because it's so important. Right? Charlie Chaplin and Albert, this is a true story. They met, and Charlie says to Albert, "I admire you." And it's like, totally. And Albert said, "No, I admire you." It's like, and Charlie said, "Why do you admire me?" "Well, I admire you because you entertain people. You don't say a word, but everyone understands what you're saying. That's why you have success." Charlie said, no, I admire you way more. And it's like Einstein said, "Why do you admire me even more?" It's like, because you have huge success, because you talk a lot of stuff to a lot of people and they don't understand a single word that you're saying. So even if you are speaking, people still don't understand what you're talking about. And that is even more precious, right? In terms of value of entertainment. It's incredible. You're talking, people understand you, nonetheless you have success. Of course, Charlie was the better actor and artist, in my opinion, than Albert, even though Albert was very creative with his science as well. But that just goes to say that if you have that product, the market is yours. So work on that, because it shows us that people are fleeing right now. And we see the numbers also from Hollywood. I mean, it's really, and I don't want to be the doomsday professor here. I'm just stating the obvious, guys. Don't kill the messenger. What type of culture is that? I'm here, I'm the coach. I like to help you. I like to help myself, of course, but also to help you. This is my job. It's my business. We thrive as a community. So when I'm saying all these things, it's because they're happening, not because I want to strategically, I don't have the power to bring a system down and therefore profit from it. I'm just stating the obvious. I see the numbers, see the reactions. It's really... Why is Hollywood failing? I think also because of the English language, because it has been hijacked too much. There's been too much talk, there's too much traumas, too much politics, and therefore people don't enjoy it. And they look for other languages, they look for other sounds, they look for other entertainment to really just escape. So this is also one of the reasons, because even good content right now doesn't get the viewership it should, or it usually had. So it's not also it's not always depending from being woke or having an agenda. It's also depending from the fact that I think people are migrating now to K-pop, to Latin American artists, to African pop, and more languages. Also because they're new, of course, because they want to explore something exciting, but mainly also because they're a bit tired. They have language fatigue. They're a bit tired of this narrative. So bring back great entertainment, bring back your narrative, bring back something unique and crisp, and you will see artists will flourish again. Just we're witnessing right now on the Korean side, but also in the Latin American world. It's a fascinating world that you can, if you come to Miami, you see it everywhere, right? South Florida is Latin land, especially Miami, and there are many jobs here for Latin American artists. We have Telemundo Studios. We've been at the opening. It's a huge facility. They've built there for $250 million. There's more and more projects with Spain, with the international Spanish productions going on, with the Latin American world that is more and more involved in shooting movies. Also here, they're taking Miami as a headquarter to, let's say, direct and headquarter all of their operations, whether that's in Europe, whether that's in Latin American world. So if you want to be part of that, come down to this beautiful place or interact with us. Send us a message. Again, we're having all sorts of outlets, whether it's our Telegram channel, our Instagram, our Twitter, our TikTok. You can get in contact with us or directly through our website. It's readytoperform.com, and connect yourself also to the Latin world that we have. We are the gateway. This is really what they said at the Miami Media Film Market. It's not our saying. This is like the responsible people, the people in charge said Miami's gonna be the gateway to the Latin world, to Latin entertainment. And so therefore, who wants to kind of have a piece of that cake down there needs to kind of establish himself over here as well. So if you are interested in kind of taking those new quests and starting a new adventure, Miami definitely is the city to be in order to do that. So get in contact with us, get in contact with our culture down here at 305 Till I Die, and what's behind this beautiful land and this beautiful city. An incredible new treasure chest of opportunities is here, guys. There's a new market shifting to this place, and the industry is changing a lot. And it's you see it also in the numbers, stuff that is coming out of Hollywood, distributing over the southern parts of the United States, also coming to South Florida. It's because of that, because the market is reorganizing, reshaping right in front of our eyes. So be part of that reshaping, be part of that new system that is about to get ushered in, and join us on this beautiful quest. Have fun with your art. Thank you so much for sticking with us today. Open Class Doodles, episode 37, the unstoppable rise of Latam entertainment. Thank you so much to the Facebook crowd, to the YouTube crowd. Thank you for smashing the like button. Share this content with the ones that you love, that you deem need to see this, right? That need this type of information, this value proposition. Subscribe to the channel, guys. It's so important to give us like a boost, to understand that this supports the channel more than anything else. Subscribe and share, so we can spread the word and get bigger as a community. Enjoy this ride even more. Thank you so much. Follow me, like I said, on Saturday with Saturday Night Hypnosis. Otherwise, see you next Tuesday for another episode of Three Sages in a Time Machine. And now you're ready to perform.